You guys, so today I'm bringing guys a brand new sports cards video. In today's video, we will be showing you guys a bunch of cards that are under $10 that I believe are incredible buys right now. The market is moving very fast nowadays, so it's very important to stay on top of the market, and that's exactly what our membership group helps with. So we've actually been able to forecast plenty of trends before the market picks up on them. So just 4 weeks ago, we launched our Platinum membership. Now, one of our first buys, we were forecasting a big rise in Kobe and LeBron's markets. So we are buying Kobe's 1996 Topps Chrome. This is our higher end membership, by the way. We also have a lower end membership for regular folks, but for our higher end folks, we are buying these Topps Chrome Kobe Bryant PSA 9s for under $3,000 just 4 weeks ago, and we are buying the PSA 10s for under $12,000. The PSA 10s have more than doubled since then. They're up to nearly $30,000 from $12,000 in just 1 month. This is just one of our incredible investments we've made. We've made a killing on a lot of select court sides. So we were also able to predict and forecast before select became huge. We were able to predict that, and we made a killing off select. We were able to predict around 6 months ago. We were able to predict 2012 Prism would become very iconic, and that worked out. We were also able to predict the rise of centers in basketball 8 months ago, and then those centers started to pop off. So we've been very good at forecasting and staying ahead of the market. So if you guys would like to join our program and make a killing with us in 2021, go ahead, click the link down below. Use code YouTube to get you 10% off at checkout. But thank you guys so much for all the support on the membership program. I know a lot of people have been making a lot of money and messaging me on Instagram with a lot of thank yous, so it's truly an honor. But without further ado, we're gonna hop right into this video. So the first card we have under $10 that I believe is an incredible buy right now is Jaren Jackson Jr. Select Rookie. I know this was in my membership program this past weekend, so prices may be a little bit up just from people buying, but roughly this should be around $10 to $15. This is maybe a little bit more than 10, but I certainly believe it's worth it. So I know Jaren Jackson Jr. right now is going under a lot of people's radar, and that's mainly due to the fact that he's been injured this season, but he will likely return within the next few months, and his prices will likely start to see a big increase to match the growth of the market since this whole injury. So Jaren Jackson Jr. is just 21 years old, and he has the mobility at 6'11". He has the mobility, and he's a great shooter and overall great scorer, which is something I really look for in a big man nowadays. His game really reminds me a lot of a young Kevin Durant with how he moves on the court and how he shoots the ball at his height. So as Ja and Jaren develop together, I certainly believe the Grizzlies can be a playoff team in 2-3 years. So I certainly believe this is a very good long-term hold. Jaren Jackson Jr. is the type of player who will have a big 40-point game, and the market's reacting very strong to those games. So I certainly believe it's a great time to get into some Jaren Jackson Jr. Select rookie cards. On top of all that, Select is on the rise. So I certainly believe this is a very good buy. By the way, we have the links to all of these cards down below the eBay. So if you guys want to see exactly what I'm seeing right now, you just click the link down below and you'll get straight to the eBay. But without further ado, we're going to hop right into our next pick, and we have Steve Nash's 1996 Topps rookie card. Now, these are roughly $10 to $15. Firstly, I believe 1996 Topps will become a very iconic set. Of course, led by Kobe Bryant's iconic rookie card. Now, obviously, Kobe Bryant's Hall of Fame induction and his documentary are both coming up, and that's certainly going to give 1996 Topps a lot of attention as a set. Similar to we saw with 86 Fleer, maybe not to that extent, but I certainly believe we will get a big boost in 1996 Topps. And, Kobe's documentary will feature many stars, and Steve Nash will be one of those stars in the documentary. Steve Nash was entered into the Hall of Fame in 2018, and, as we saw with The Last Dance, Jordan's documentary, I certainly believe that Kobe's documentary will elevate the prices of players who played in his era, and, Steve Nash is staying relevant by coaching the Brooklyn Nets, and he's a 2-time MVP, 8-time All-Stars, and 8-time All-Star, and one of the best passers in NBA history. So I certainly believe that the Kobe documentary will get Steve Nash's cards a big boost in price. He's one of the best who have played in Kobe's era, so people are really going to get to see that through the documentary. So I certainly believe it's a great time to get in now for dirt cheap. Compared to what they should be. But without further ado, we're going to hop right into our next pick. Now, this pick may be a little bit more than $10. I know I'm squeezing a little bit of these picks, but I certainly believe they are very good buys if I'm going ahead and calling them. Now, John Wall, his 2012 Prism. So, Harden left the Rockets, as you guys know, meaning that John Wall will now be facilitating the Rockets offense. Wall has been out the past few games, but when he steps back on the court, I believe his numbers will be sky high just because he'll be handling the ball a lot more. The Rockets still have a solid roster with Oladipo, Christian Wood, you got DeMarcus Cousins, and of course John Wall. So I certainly believe they will be a borderline playoff team if John Wall does step up. And Wall was one of the best point guards in the league 3 years ago. And, certainly I believe he has what it takes to climb back up to that status again. Now, John Wall does not have a very desirable rookie card. So I believe that John Wall collectors and investors, will start to invest in his first year Prisms from 2012. So they're roughly $20, I would say, ungraded. So I certainly believe these are a very good buy. But our next pick is from 2012 Prism as well. I will warn you guys, this is a little bit more of a risky pick. But Isaiah Thomas's 2012 Prism. Obviously Isaiah Thomas has now been out of the league for a little bit. But he's now discussing his NBA comeback with many teams. And the Nets and the Knicks are on top of that list. Now, Isaiah is still 31 years old, and I believe he has a lot left in him. He's been counted out his whole life, and he's always proved everyone wrong. I'm still a big believer in Isaiah Thomas, and especially if he ends up signing, with the Knicks, he could certainly be a crucial piece to their team under the bright lights in New York City. And this reminds me a lot of John Wall's comeback, as they were both, players who at one point were a top 3 point guard in the league. Isaiah Thomas obviously was a fan favorite in Boston. I've been keeping up with Isaiah's workout videos, and he seems to be back where he left off. It's obviously hard to tell from workout videos, but he certainly, it still has that mobility, still has that grind, and that's great to see. So I certainly believe that if he will come back, an average 20 plus points per game on the Knicks or, Nets, he could have a good chance at winning a championship. These are very cheap, so they have pretty much no risk. This is first year Prism, and I believe they have a lot of upside personally. Just the fact of him signing with the team could cause his prices to go crazy. Maybe he doesn't even play a game, but if he signs with that team, boom, that comes with a big price increase as we saw in free agency this past season. So I certainly believe that's a very good buy. But without further ado, we're going to hop right into our next pick. We got Lauri Markkanen's Prism rookie card. I know these are a little bit hard to find, but these are roughly $10 to $13. Lauri has established himself as a young star with a lot of potential. Long term, I feel a lot better about Lauri Markkanen's future with Billy Donovan as head coach. So the Bulls obviously have Zach LaVine playing at a very high level, and now it's time for the young stars Kobe White and Lauri Markkanen to elevate their games. There are not many 7-footers out there that can shoot the ball like Lauri Markkanen. And he's just 23 years old and improving constantly. So the Eastern Conference is quite wide open, as only 4 teams are locked for the playoffs. Over the next 2 years with Corey White and Lauri Markkanen both improving, I believe the Bulls can be a solid playoff team in the Eastern Conference. So I certainly recommend these if you can find them under $15. But without further ado, we're going to hop right into our next pick. We got John Collins Optic rookie card. So these are just around $10. But John Collins obviously has been a little bit slow recently, but last season he averaged 20 points per game and 10 rebounds per game, and even dropped some big 35 point per game performances. So John Collins is still 22 years old, and will continue to develop alongside Trae Young. By the time the season ended last year, the Hawks were looking very, very good. In this last offseason, they've drafted Onyeka Okongwu. They've also picked up Rondo, Gallinari, and Bojan Bogdanovic. So overall, I'm really loving the Hawks' future with all their young stars, and with them being in the Eastern Conference, where it's a lot easier to make noise. So I certainly believe that John Collins will be a big part of the Atlanta Hawks' future. So I certainly believe this is a great buy for the current prices. But without further ado, we're going to hop right into our next pick. We have right here Cam Reddish's select rookie card. He's another Hawk who I really believe in. I've been watching him since college, and he's always been able to score with ease. I can see him developing and potentially being the Hawks' second or third star. He has very good size, at 6'8" for his position, and I think he has a lot of upside. And considering his low prices, I think it's a good bet to place. Obviously his prisms are upwards of $20, so I think at the current prices for his selects, that's a very good buy if you can find them around $10 to $15. But yeah, that's pretty much been the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Once again, if you guys would like to join in on the profit with our membership group, go ahead, click the link down below. Use code YouTube for 10% off. But without further ado, we're going to close out the video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'm out.